Welcome to the Iron County Fair. This is Talking Ag in the Ag Barn. I am so excited. I love the Adams, and it's really exciting for me to get to re-interview them too, because each time that we've had a discussion, I get to learn so much more about what you guys are doing and how you're benefiting this small community. So what have you guys been up to over the last summer?
Go ahead.
Me first?
Yeah.
You know what, I always say, busier than a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest. That's my favorite phrase. Busy farming, busy with the kids. Our kids are involved in the livestock show. And we bought out my uncle this last year on the farm, and so we've been heavily involved with doing that as well. So things have been going very, very well. Tremendous winter last year for snowpack on the mountain. That's been a great blessing for us. The cows are doing great. There's enough feed up there till 2024 and then beyond. So things are going very, very well.
That's good. And it's really good to hear that kids are involved in ag. Tell us what that's about. Mom schedule.
Well, our kids, it's interesting because the last year that his youngest sibling participated in the livestock show, the very next year our oldest daughter was old enough. So they've done the livestock show forever. So our kids they show animals in the livestock show every year, and it's almost sale and show time, so that's super exciting. They're getting ready to have a break from that, but they have worked really hard, and they learn so much doing the livestock show. It's not always easy, it's not always convenient, but they do it.
With bringing kids up in agriculture, what are some of the key lessons that you've seen them learn and grow from over this last summer?
One of the things that I have really looked forward to the most in the summertime is spending time with our children on the tractors, the swathers, on the back of the horses, chasing cows, anything like that. Our only son is 7 years old, and he spent many nights with me on the steamer baling hay, and would go down at midnight many times, and he'd work until 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and he'd work for a few hours driving the tractor, sitting in between my legs, and then lay down on the floorboard of the tractor and sleep for a couple hours. But 7 years old, most kids are like, I don't want to do that. I want to sleep in and watch cartoons in the morning, and he does a fair amount of that.
Well, they are
when
kids.
He gets back, I want him to have some kid experiences, but to have a young man like that wanting to be with his dad out on the tractor, and our daughters as well. They spend so much time with us out doing that. Our oldest daughter's on a mission right now in Paraguay, but the next two, they've been working 13, 14-hour days many times during harvest, and earning good money, learning good things, and that's one of my favorite things about the farm. Having them there with us and working side by side, learning those life lessons, learning about agriculture, about animals, and doing those things that will help them and benefit them for the rest of their life.
So LeeAnn, with the different aspects of raising young women in today's society, what are you most excited for in sending them off into this great big world, knowing that they have these key principles that you've taught them, to take to Paraguay? What are some of the ones you're not worried about?
Well, one of the interesting stories is our daughter, before she left on her mission, she went to Provo to live for 6 months. And she went to get just a little part-time job at Crumble Cookie while she was going to hair school. She went in for this interview, and the guy that was interviewing her just asked her, "What's your background? Where are you from? What have you done in the past?" And she said, "Well, I grew up on a farm. My dad, this is what I did." And he's like, "Oh, you've got the job. I don't need to hear anything else. It's yours." And she took it. And it was just this perfect little part-time job while she put herself through school. But that was one of the biggest things for us. And their work ethic is they just far exceed anything that I could have expected. And you can't quit. That's the biggest thing that we feel like they've learned. For me, and I'm not out there every day with him on the production side of things, but I see the kids come home and they're tired and they're dirty and they eat lunch and go back, and it's not over. It's not done. You don't quit. It's not over at 5 when the work day ends, like it depends. If there's still hay to haul, you go back and you finish. And that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed, that she is using on her mission in Paraguay is it's 100 degrees with 90% humidity right now. They're heading into summer, and she's miserably hot. But she's like, I can't stay home. I'm not going to stay home. I won't quit, and I've loved that about it the most.
Well, and I feel like this is a common thread between all ag families or people that are exposed to ag in some degree is they don't quit. They're fighters, they're forgers, they're going through the different challenges, and they're not really finding failures. They're figuring out how not to do something. If you cut a round field square, it's not the best use of time, but if you cut a round field round, it's the highest and best use of time, right? But you can go through those different learning aspects, and with children, they can see the whole picture almost, because they're watching their parents side by side fighting for a common thread of, we're going to get this hay up. We're going to make sure the household's operating to where we can go and take care of livestock. You know, it's a joint effort. It's a team effort. And in life, I feel like there's so many aspects or avenues that way, because we're all a big village almost. We have to figure out how to work together. We have to figure out what you're strong in and what I'm strong in. What you're strong in might not be what I'm strong in, which is great, because I can't do everything myself, and neither can you guys. But that striving to move forward and moving ahead is what you're teaching your kids in key principles through those experiences. Now, I may send my 3-year-old son out with you on that tractor.
Bring him on.
Because he is obsessed with John Deere tractors. Granted, we have antique Johnny Poppers that we're going to be driving in the Labor Day parade. But he loves those tractors through and through, and he just wants to be on them, riding them, you know. But it's also in that aspect that kids really kind of become one with the energy, so to speak, because they're getting their hands dirty. They're seeing what hard work does produce. You know, it puts food on their table. It gives them, you know, recognition in the livestock show. You know, walking a lamb is sometimes not hard. You know, it's not. Sorry, walking a lamb is sometimes hard, but it always pays off. Guiding a pig, learning to work with a pig, and I mean, there is a reason that it's called pig-headed.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Totally.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm the most easiest thing to get along with, but I'm not necessarily a pig. But learning to work with something that's nonverbal, right? Kids learn so many different skill sets within that. So you guys are hay and cattle producers. You also have M.A.D Freight, which is a shipping company all across the U.S., correct?
Yes.
And kind of give us a little bit of backstory on that, because to me it was a forged path out of necessity. You guys needed materials and supplies from somewhere, or you needed somewhere to get the supplies to. Tell us a little bit about that, LeeAnn.
We've thought for years, 15 years probably, that something like this is necessary. We just, the way that he travels to get supplies and equipment, and it started with a need to get a piece of equipment out of Idaho, and he and his dad drove, well, it was the elementary Christmas program, so they couldn't leave until after that at 8 o'clock at night. Drove halfway to Idaho. Anyway, it was this big 2-day thing, drove all day for 2 days. And as they were leaving the John Deere dealership up there, they came home, and then they met a guy from the John Deere dealership the next day at our shop. And he said, I was there. I was in Idaho yesterday. I could have brought that home for you guys. And that experience, it just solidified the fact that this platform was necessary. And it's not just for farm equipment. Just last week we drove to St. George to drop a package off to be sent to our daughter in Paraguay, and within 5 minutes of us pulling into that spot was another lady from Parowan, one of our daughter's really good friends' grandma, doing the exact same thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, we both just drove to St. George at the exact same time to drop off a missionary package. It's ridiculous, you know?
Yes.
So just over and over, we see these experiences that solidify the fact that it's a proven idea. Everybody can use it in different ways, and so.
Well, and it goes to show that the more people talk to each other, the more benefits would become of it, because then that 2 or 3 hours of your driving or her driving could have benefited in a different way. It would have helped her family out because she was there, or the different aspects surrounding that is, as people talk more and become more like village, right? Then we can benefit each other and help each other grow and thrive and become more than what we've ever become. Ag in Iron County is a very high economic driver. I would say it's the top economic driver, second to industry or manufacturing. And I would say that they flex a little bit back and forth. With that, in the Parowan Valley, what have you guys seen in a positive change over the last 5 years in Iron County, in the Parowan Valley, versus what are you scared of and what do we need to hold on to more?
Great question. So the first thing that comes to my mind is the positive change I see in Parowan. We're experiencing a lot of growth right now, but the farmers that are here are multi-generational farmers, many of them, if not most of them. They're upgrading from wheel lines to pivots. They're putting in shops. They're planting roots to stay forever. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people throughout maybe Utah and the United States and the world, they're getting offered these outrageous prices for their land because real estate's so high right now. And I get it. People need a place to live. But once you put a house on there, that's the last bale of hay that's ever going to grow on that block. And so for us, we've been offered astronomical amounts of money for our farm. And we're not interested, I'll be honest with you. We don't farm because of the money. We're farming because of our lifestyle. You keep saying the word village. I love that. It takes a village to raise our children, your children. When you bring your 3-year-old son down and put him on our steamer, he's going to be telling his buddies about that when he goes to kindergarten, right?
Yes.
We can help you with your children, even though you might not be farming every single day. He can come down and ride with us. I love when people come down to our farm and jump on the horses with us, go up chasing cows that have never been on a horse in their life. They're 50, 60, 70 years old. They'll jump on a horse for the first time on our farm.
Well, in those feelings of becoming a village and creating that synergy between each other, that human connection that everybody is starved for right now. Just a simple garden in your backyard versus knowing producers and exposing my children to those different experiences through production. It's an incredible feeling because once we become that connected, we're kind of like family almost. It never goes away. I mean, and at least for me, Iron County is my family. My entire purpose in life is making sure that we survive, whatever survival means. But I don't want anybody to be hindered or prevented from doing something because they didn't have access to it. And to me, ag lands and agriculture in Iron County is because it is one of the most economic driving forces in Iron County. More people need to become more educated about it and more aware of it. As we do that, it creates that appreciation and that, okay, if you know how to do that, I'm going to learn how to do this so that together we can become stronger.
Well, and I love that thought of the use of the word village again. It's like when you mentioned what's something that we need to do in the future, I feel like preparedness and education, just like you said. I mean, with the farm, we feel like a lot of the things that he can do or the equipment that we have is really a good asset when we might have flooding, or we might have, if the freeway shuts down, and we have access to a lot of things that we feel like is a really good preparedness thing. But as a village, we want to be as prepared as we can so that we can trade services or products or whatever with people if that need arises in the future.
Absolutely. And I feel like, especially during the last few years that we've experienced as a nation, the pandemic was a huge indicator of the scarcity that people think is out there. The fear that everybody was driven by fear, and we can't talk to each other as humans, right? When humans need love and abundance and that village, they need those different components to live a long-lived, well-thought-out life. Each experience turns into the ability to learn and grow to become stronger. But if we don't help our neighbors and we don't know our neighbors, or we don't know that Susie's going to mail a package, you know, all of the different things can be better because of that. So if we created a village, or if we promoted village, now I'm not saying that I'm going to dump my kids off at you, you know, for you to take care of for a year and a half. I'm saying, can you give them a slight experience so that I can take them home and see if they'll learn something else, right? And through those different opportunities, my kids will learn to appreciate it at a very different level than somebody just knowing that groceries come from a grocery store, right? That hay is, you know, this water, you know, sucker thing. And I'm like, everything you ate today touched hay.
Yeah.
Everything.
Totally agree.
So
I like the opportunity to give back. You mentioned hands-on. We planted an acre of sweet corn underneath one of our pivots. We've done it the last couple of years. We're just going to invite people from the community and southern Utah to come down. We're not looking to make money on this. I want them to come and have a farm experience and pick corn at the farm. Bring their kids down there and let them know that what they see at Walmart, at Lynn's, whatever it may be, didn't come from Lynn's. It came from a farm in Parowan or Cedar City or Burl, whatever.
Right.
And to have people come down and experience that, there's so many kids that are literally don't know where their food comes from.
no, and even still, like, and you take it into the grocery store aspect, some people think canned peaches come from canned peaches. When we grow peaches down in Hurricane all summer long, and in fact, Peach Days is today, right? But you go through that and you show them how food can be preserved, you know, teaching classes. I know my mom canned when I was really little, but I didn't learn how to do it, you know, when I was 5 or 6 or 7. But I'm starved for I want to learn how to do this. And there should be classes or an education center surrounding almost homesteading mentality, because even still, now LeeAnn may have done this before, and which I am so jealous of that you've been able to do this, but if any of us ordered a primal cut of meat, how would you even start to cut it up?
I've never done that.
Right? But you know what a beef is,
Yes.
and you know how to get some type of thing from it. But if you started offering classes, and if you started doing different things like that, it would get them more integrated, you know, or at least aware of how to do this. You know, so if the world crashed again, then we would be able to survive together.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be a village, or it's supposed to be camaraderie, and working with each other's strengths and working with each other's weaknesses, and showing the world that we're not going to give up. Right?
Very important.
What else do we need to know about the Adams?
That's a good question. I think maybe just a couple things is we want to do our best to give back. We get a lot of, I don't even know what the word is, joy, satisfaction, happiness, peace of mind, knowing that we can give back. We can help people with beef. We can help people with pork, with hay, with our M.A.D Freight app. The whole reason that we're doing the M.A.D Freight app is to help other people. As we become more profitable, we want to help other people do the same, and to help people that are less fortunate. There's a lot of people right here in Parowan, right here in the county, that are having a hard time putting food on the table. Can we help them as we become more profitable? Absolutely. And that's what I love about the village word that we've talked about today. As we work together, we can provide certain things. You can provide certain things. Everybody that's walking by the fair today can provide certain things. The more we work together to help each other out, instead of putting the blame on, I'll say, government or the neighbor, let's work together. We're really big about that. Let's work together. We want to teach our kids that. I think that, I always say, that's our greatest crop. I love corn, I love alfalfa, I love the three-way, I love the calves. Our greatest crop is those kids.
Well, and
What
we're
doing
raising
for
them.
That's
We're
what
raising
doing.
them to take on the world after we're no longer here.
Yes.
And if we give them a good start, then hopefully they can see it through the end. We're teaching them to survive, to never give up, to go through those different processes. But if we don't have anything to give them to, give to them, then what's the world become? Thank you guys so much for joining us. I love getting to visit with you each time. It's an inspiration to all of us for what you guys have done. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and do the interview, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love to be